Wait a second. How come everyone else's room is fucking amazing, and then, like, this one's... Oh, it's because their dad was in the military.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe she moved out after her dead brother's shrines.
Yeah.
Plural.
Or, I mean, maybe she was already out. Maybe she was older. I don't know. You'd have to look at the timeline of, like, when... Like, how old she was when he died.
I like how the great-grandparents were like... I mean, yeah, the grandparents were like, everyone gets a cool room! And then this guy's like, everybody gets a locker and a military bed. Like, okay. Is that a feather or a mohawk? It's a mohawk.
I think it's a mohawk.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Wonder why he didn't want...
Look at his bracelet!
He's punk. Why? I wonder why he doesn't want to see a wedding.
Maybe it's his dad remarrying.
Oh.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now pronounce
Yeah.
husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Wait, why would you make it so your stepmother never met your kids before you get married? Did he, like, is this one of those people you're, like, all over a letter or something?
He might have also, like, moved out of the house and not wanting to come back. I don't know.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Is he gonna get hit with, like, lightning or something?
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Oh, that's why
that's
the
what
chairs,
yeah.
are in the trees.
Yes.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Oh.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Fucking kidding me?
Who are these people calling me?
Just turned off.
Oh, yeah. I like how Gus redid his to be a skateboard.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? Raise the flag. Breakfast. Quiet time. Dawn. Sweep trash. Gus. Mop and mow yard. Greg, be a baby. Routine. Jump rope, jumping jacks, push-ups, crunches, run to mailbox and back.
No wonder he was such a fucking rebel. I'd be like, fuck you, Dad. Come on, Dawn. You need to learn how to survive. Oh, she's dead.
Oh, they have a little climbing wall.
Ooh, can I climb it? Oh, yeah. Okay,
My mom
cool.
moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
Oh.
But she still has to live in the room with, like, the shrine.
At the time,
it's fucking
it was
weird.
as far away as she could get.
Alright, now I'm finally getting it.
Wow.
Because, like, you look down, it's like, dead brothers.
Yeah.
You're like, alright, everyone, calm down. I'm sealing the rooms.
This is cool.
English, teaching, geology, planets to visit.
Places.
Oh, places. Whatever. Looks like she did a lot of volunteering for Greenpeace.
Where helping hands create safe places.
Religion,
Oh,
science.
that's why Dawn and Sanjay.
Ah, she
was volunteering there.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
I love how you were like, this name doesn't make sense.
Oh no, because I was like, why would they name their son Sanjay? And I was like, it must be like someone who like got married to somebody.
Yeah.
Don't forget visa.
Fly to India! 10 ways to teach critical thinking.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Oh man, we're gonna go all the way up to the top of the house. Yes! Milton Finch.
Missing. I wonder if we ever figure out.
What happened to him? Maybe we find his skeleton in one of the upper rooms.
Or it's like stuck in like,
A crawl space?
yeah, or a chimney.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Crazy plant lady.
That's me.
And to see kids in the house again.
Oh, this is a cool idea. Painting them like that.
Mm-hmm.
This must have been tomato plants? Probably.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Gary's potting mix. I don't know. We see those everywhere. Maybe they're body parts.
Yep, that's it. That has to be it.
Wouldn't that be just like some obscure detail like that? It's like, oh, all those potting mix things you were passing by the entire game. Those are the bones of the family.
Well, it would make good fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, things were good. Almost
Oh, they were
normal.
Homeschooled.
Ugh.
Ugh. Gross. No way. Don't homeschool your kids. I don't care. I don't care who I'm offending. It's weird. That's where I draw the line of weirdness.
Well, just because like you can't be an expert in every subject that your kids need to know.
I just feel like it would be like keeping your children hostage.
Well, I guess like the
But it didn't
socialization
last.
aspect just seems like, you know,
creepy.
I mean, but also lonely, you know, like one of the big things about like learning social skills as a person is like how much you socialize as a child. It's the same thing with dogs. If a dog is raised and it never like plays with other dogs, it is going to act differently than a dog that's like been around lots of humans and other pets and stuff. And then you do book reports on your own dead relatives.
Like, what the fuck is this? And then, of course, she has a cross there, so then, like, okay, nothing good comes from that. Alright? Like, if they were homeschooled and, like, they didn't have the cross there, I'd be like, maybe. But then the cross is here, I'm like, alright, something fucked up happened. Like, that's just what I think.
I think we've been a little trained by
Milton's 10th
society?
birthday,
yeah.
when Edie gave him a castle.
Well, it's
to distrust religion? Yeah.
It's the horror movie trope, you know?
Milton had his own, like, castle?
Turret thing.
What? His house is... Milton got the best place, man! Where the fuck was my room? I wonder why he painted a door.
I don't know. But we've seen paintings from him all around.
We have?
Yeah.
Like what?
In the crawl spaces and stuff. He's drawn things on the walls. I mean, nothing that I looked at and thought, like, oh, that's the key to the universe, but it was obvious that he was in a lot of the crawl spaces. I mean, at least that's what the black paint was, because he painted his name next to it.
Yeah, and his aesthetic is pretty much black and white.
Mm-hmm.
This kid has a pretty good aesthetic for being so young. Like, he's already figured it out.
Happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Like, he seems to have a really good understanding of what his likes and dislikes are in terms of style, considering he's so young. No. What?
Wow.
This kid had it made! Shit!
Wow. Although, I didn't see a bathroom anywhere near here.
He's a boy, he can pee off the side.
What about if you have to poop?
He can poop off the side. Or he can poop in the garden, fertilize the plants. Did we see our room?
Not yet.
Born 1992, but she didn't put an end to date, so
Yeah.
maybe...
No, because he went missing, remember? And they never found his body. So
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
She wanted it to be a memorial, not a tombstone.
Oh, this is a really long flip book. Wow. Holy shit. This is intricate as fuck.
I wonder if he paints the door and he goes through.
Hold on, sorry. My bad. Oh, sorry.
I wonder if he paints the door and it shows him going through and disappearing.
That's probably it. That's probably literally what happened for realsies. Guess that mystery never gets solved.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
I wonder what's on our necklace.
It looks like a ring. Maybe it's like a promise ring type thing. I don't know.
A ring and it's like attached to like something else.
Like,
oh, it looks like, yeah, you're right, like an engagement ring. You're right.
yeah. Oh, you know what? It might be like her mother's wedding ring.
Or what if it's the curse? Maybe the baby daddy died because of the curse.
I mean, that's possible, but if yeah. I don't know. That'd be one fast moving curse. He wasn't even like really officially in the family
Mom spent
yet.
months
He
searching for her.
inseminated.
Then she sealed the doors.
Really? Only a few months before you seal the door?
Hold on, go to the door. I thought no, on the
Store?
no, sorry. It was the white thing was on the rope, but it looked like it was on the door.
Oh,
Because
okay.
of the angle of the camera.
Ah.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
I want there to be some sort of like cinematic like dun 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 dun.
And you want dinosaurs to come out and the Tyrannosaurus Rex?
I mean, that would improve the game.
Would it? This whole time, they were all killed by dinosaurs! That's what happened!
That's what happened. We find a family of dinosaurs underneath the house.
I think it's the creepiest thing in the world to be like, yeah, your great uncle was living underneath the house. I never told you. And like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Mom?
I wonder if we're up at the very top.
Like, why couldn't we go visit our great uncle in the basement?
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
Wait, where's our room?
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
And then he died at the cannery? Was he canned? Man,
Like, can
everybody's-
your pet!
You know,
Best game ever.
I just want to point something out. Man, I'm really scared that my kids are going to die from a curse. Anyway, here's 2 hanging chairs hanging from a boat in the air. Whatevs.
I know. I was thinking about that as we were climbing up all the ladders, and I was like, you know, as cool as this is like a fucking death trap. This house is not passing any inspection.
Like, yeah. I wonder who built this part? Because Grandpa's dead, right?
Also,
Or-
wouldn't this be cold in the winter?
What? Alright, whatever.
He's got a hookah.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Is that an NES?
See? This is what
Ah.
happens if you play video games. You smoke pot.
Lewis and I spent a
and you
lot of
die.
time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
He died a lot! That's what happens!
Stop! Turn around! So we've got video games, we've got weed,
And he's dead!
and he's dead.
There's not much... Oh my god. Oh, I
What
thought
more
it
do you
just...
need to know?
What else do you need to know?
There's nothing else you need to know. This is the moral of the entire game.
If you play video games, you will smoke marijuana, and the marijuana will kill you. He
Yeah.
died from a marijuana overdose.
Yes.
Just kidding. It's literally impossible to overdose on marijuana. The fuck is this?
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse.
Oh my god.
All that
Only
weed.
sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
What am I-
wander.
Oh, video games.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna accidentally like cut off our hand or something?
I asked him to describe it.
So what's happening right now is that I'm controlling the hand with my right stick, and then I'm controlling that thing with my left stick. So I assume
He
this is
said
gonna
he
cause
started
me.
small, imagining a labyrinth. could feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery.
We're gonna like cut off our hand. I don't want to know.
I spoke with his boss.
What? You can't do that.
But he said Lewis had become a model employee.
Maybe just to ask
Methodical,
like how he's
tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
doing. Oh, he knows how it's getting bigger and bigger.
And then we're gonna cut our
He
hand
told
off.
me
Yeah.
he'd made a new friend.
Oh.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick.
It's like he's a game developer.
Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked
One thing
about
you
starting
know-
a band.
You're making video games. Next thing you know,
Your hand's
And he
cut
was
off.
always
Cut
humming
off.
something.
and you're dead.
Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor,
And he lives there now.
and he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
So he's not sleeping.
Yeah, it sounds like.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
Beautiful prince!
Yes.
beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for
Read Radiant rainbows!
Radiant rainbows.
This is kind of cool. Oh.
He followed the sound of his
Which one? Which one?
Electric sitar.
electric sitar.
Oh look, there's sounds like, looks like Sanskrit in the background. What is that?
We've talked about this before. I forget what
His
the writing
chase
is
led him
called.
to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Stacey, I can't even see what's happening anymore.
He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
I like how there's this little door.
I like totally relate to this because there were times in my life where I've just like,
Is there that blood on the floor?
probably,
Yeah.
like fish blood,
Oh
where
my
I've just
God.
been living completely in my imagination.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
You do that too.
World of Warcraft.
I know, but like in my imagination made up world, like not even in a video game.
Oh, okay. I thought you were referring to the dark days of WoW.
No,
He began to forget the world we know.
but no, like where I just like sit in my imagination during like my deepest, darkest times. I'm like, no, I'm an elf princess, and
Yeah.
I didn't know that like other people didn't do that at all until I started being like, you know, my secret thing that I think about before I go to sleep. They're like, I don't do that, and I'm like, oh.
Oh man. when I get like really depressed, I think of life as like a survival game. And like how it's like it's a contest.
About who can live.
Yeah. About who can make it and who can survive.
Mm-hmm. It's the only way for you to keep living is to make it a competition.
Yeah.
Sabotaging your husband.
To make it some sort of competition that I can win.
Yeah, if you outlive your
I think
husband,
it
that
pained
means you
him
won.
to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Is he gonna kill himself?
Aww.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
There's Molly the cat.
His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
Oh God.
Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Oh my gosh.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
So Stacy was right. If you play video games, you'll do marijuana and die.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, not only will you'll kill yourself
From the marijuana.
from the marijuana. From the Mary Jane cigarettes that you ingest. I mean, so I joke about the whole like survival game thing as if it's like funny, but it's really not. It's like
That's how you're surviving.
it's very depressing. Because I don't really think of it as like a fun game. I think of it as like a who can keep up the charade the longest.
Of who will die.
Yeah. You know? It's hard to explain.
I feel it. I get it. In the way that you get things you can't really put to words.
Mm-hmm.
Am I not able...
No, that's the... Were we supposed to go out a different way?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Was
Oh,
his-
there's stairs to the left.
Yes.
So everybody had to just...
On the way back from
Oh,
Lewis's
shower.
funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
There.
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
That's rude.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
Is this Dawn's adult?
Where's our room?
Hold on.
But I understand why we left.
I'm trying to remember how old she... Well, no, because she was really little, right?
No, they left when she was 11.
Oh, right. Okay.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are
Edith,
very
I
specific.
left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our
I'm
last...
not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
How do you need a library with all these books everywhere?
More books.
Oh my gosh.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Oh. It's a bed.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
That's
They
a bad
called
thing.
it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful.
That's a really bad thing, because that means a tsunami's coming.
No,
We're going there.
I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it.
When my grandparents were in Hawaii, they don't really celebrate April Fools anymore because there were 2 tidal waves on April Fools. And back before they
When
had
the
like
fog
warning
rolled
systems.
I lost my way.
And my grandfather saw the water go out and everyone was running in to get the fish and he ran away and he was the only one who survived.
Yeah. I've heard you tell this story.
I don't remember telling you this story.
No, that's actually, did you know that's actually like a human thing? Humans remember telling the story, but they don't remember who they told it to.
Ah.
That's why we're so prone to telling each other the same story over and over.
Oh, I thought this was a
I
cutscene.
got turned around.
Oh.
I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
You forgot deer existed?
But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Or
That
pieces
night,
of her house?
a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain. but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you.
Are we being born?
Oh no.
But now I hope
Oh, I don't want to be born.
I just want to meet you. And tell you
Gross.
all these stories myself.
Ew.
But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Ew. Gross. We're coming out of a vagina.
Lovely.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Is she gonna kill herself?
No. Edith is dead.
1999 to 2017.
Yeah, we're her son.
Oh my
This
god.
whole time.
We've been the son?
Well, no, I don't. Well, we had those. I don't know.
No, because he had a cast and we had the gloves.
But we were him. In the very beginning.
Well, how did she die?
I don't know.
Did she kill herself or did she die in childbirth? What?
I think she died in childbirth, but I don't know. That's my guess. This game was really cool, but also really depressing. I think because so many of the people that died were children.
For some reason, I just don't feel like it's depressing. I
Yeah.
feel like it's them. All those stories were their way of dealing with the grief of extremely. Like, there's no curse in my mind, but like all those stories and stuff were how each person saw their own death, and like how each people remember that death is not something particularly awful, but is something beautiful. I'm not saying death is beautiful or anything, but this is just how the characters in this story felt when looking back on the death. That, like, the little girl's diary entry, that's her memory of her own death, and it wasn't ugly or scary. Well, it was. I mean, she got eaten by.
I mean, I feel like that's like So I really liked the game, and I don't want what I'm about to say to make people think that I didn't like the game. But I also think that, I mean, like, to me, it's sad, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
Well, I feel melancholy, but I don't feel depression. Does that make sense?
I mean, just, like... Because when it's, like, you look at it as, like, oh, that's how they remember their own death. It's, like, yes, that is, like, a very, like, rosy way of looking at the fact that, like...
They died as a child.
All of these people's children died. I mean, except for Dawn, I guess. But I do kind of like that there was kind of like a... Instead of it being like a straight up like, this is what happened and like, the baby drowned. You know, instead of that, it's
but
like...
if you'll notice that a lot of the people are like, this is how I choose to remember. This is how I choose to, like, recall. This is how I choose to, like, memorialize these people.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it has more to do with each person's grief of losing the last person rather than... I don't know.
I don't think it makes it any less sad.
It's not about it being sad. It's about it being, like... AJ, I know, you're sad too. It's about grief, I guess.
Yeah. Were we just having two different conversations?
We might have been.
I was just saying that I kind of like that it had like that fantastical element to it.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, you know, just saying like the baby drowned. It's like this is how you could choose to look at it from the baby's point of view.
Mm-hmm. I just like how the guy sent a letter to, you know, his ex-wife being like, it's not your fault. I don't blame you.
Yeah, you blamed her though. Pretty
well,
immediately.
Yeah, I did. Because she was like, I'm just gonna close this door and leave the water on. Whatevs.
Well, no, she drains the tub, and then the baby turns it back on.
I could never have a baby. I'd be, like, staring at it all the time. The end.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about, it's like, oh, you can replay a story. So, I think that it's like, you can look at those types of, like, you know, death of a child. Like, sometimes, like, people look back and they're like, oh my gosh, like, it was completely the parents' fault. And other times, like...
No, it's never actually really the parents' fault. Unless, like, you know...
Unless they literally murdered them.
Yeah, unless they literally murdered. Like, babies are always trying to kill themselves.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, like, there's just so many...
You have to, like, always be looking at that baby.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can be doing the best that... you can. I mean, obviously I don't have any children, but just like from
sometimes babies die.
Yeah, like from the people that I've talked to with children, they are literally always trying to kill themselves in some way.
It's like that game where it's like that baby's walking around and you have to stop the baby from dying.
I'm sure that's what motherhood is like.
I don't want to do it. I'd be terrified because I'd be like just staring at the baby all the time.
Mari just wants me to have a baby so that she can play with it without having to actually take care of it.
Hey, that's true. Yeah, because look at this. This is my future if I have a baby. They're all dead.
They're all dead.
They're all dead. The end. And then how did Edith die? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure...
I wonder if we can play ours.
Yeah. Will it just show the end?
We'll just show a baby coming out of a vagina. Huh?
I'm confused. Well, this was the beginning of the game. I guess I'm just a little confused as to...
How did we die?
Edith?
Yeah.
Because technically who we are right now is not Edith.
We're the sun.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you.
So.
Maybe there's, like, something on the internet. But, anyway, how did Edith die? I'm sure there's a bunch of, like, hints or something.
I think she died in childbirth. That's what I'm going with.
Ugh. I don't like it for some reason.
Because when she wrote the journal, she was 22 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, we showed the baby being born, and it specifically says, like, but if you're reading this right now, then I'm not here. She, like, says something about, like, you know, we can explore, like, things together.
I guess she was very aware of her own mortality after looking at everyone dying.
Yeah. I would, yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye! Everyone's dead!
Everyone's dead! Bye!